great about that, other than trying to help people who are in a state of disease. Welcome back to the Immigration Answer Show. My name is Jim Hacking. Today is Friday, November 28th, 2025. It's the 22nd birthday of my second son, Yusuf. We'll be celebrating him all day long, including going to Friday prayer and the garden glow at your Missouri Botanical Garden. How is everybody? How was your Thanksgiving? Did you have a nice day off? I know some people, like our friend Nurse Laura, were working yesterday and are working today. I hope everybody did get some kind of a chance to be with their family, to be with their friends. I hope everything is going well and that you had a nice holiday. A lot of good football on yesterday. I was very glad to see the Chiefs lose. I was very glad to see the Chiefs. It was hard to know who to root for. I really hate Jerry Jones, and I really hate the Chiefs. And all the bandwagon Chief fans that there are. I was rooting for the Lions in the first game. I was rooting for the Cowboys in the second game. And I thought the Ravens, that was the perfect kind of game that they would lose. The perfect kind of game that they would lose. And I think they lost. Did the Bengals win that game? I think they did. Of course, I was going off to bed, shuffling off to Buffalo for that. I'm going to do something a little bit different in today's show. So I needed to do two things today. One, I wanted to do this show. And two, I wanted to record a video specifically about the new policy that's apparently being tested. I don't know. Maybe it's coming everywhere. I don't know. But back in August, well, let me start. What I'm going to do is I'm going to record a video inside the show, and then I want to get your feedback after I do it, if that makes sense. So I'm going to set the table for what we're going to talk about in this video, and then we'll open it up for all of our usual comments and stuff. Probably take me about 15 minutes, but this is really, really important for the people that watch the show and the people that are going through the immigration process. A lot of people have gone through the green card process, and when I tell you the changes that they've made, I think you're going to be shocked. I tried to talk about this the other day, but the audio was all choppy, so we sort of have to do it again. I was going to make a separate video, but I'd rather do it live with all of you in real time, and then I can deal with whatever editing we have to do later. I'll probably release it as its own separate video. I haven't done this before, but I think this might be what I start doing because it's just a streamlined way to do it. I want to share important news with you guys. It's sort of a drag to shoot a separate video and talk about it on the show. So I'm just wondering if I can do it all at once. I'll probably turn off the comments on my end so that I can get a nice video and sort of stay a little bit focused, but then I'll look at your comments after we get back. So, all right, so let's try this. All right. Which camera am I looking at? This is what I do. So you guys are going to see how the sausage is made. All right. So there's my camera. I got it. Okay. All right. So USCIS and ICE are working together to detain immigrants at their marriage-based green card interviews. Hi, I'm Jim Hacking, immigration lawyer practicing law throughout the United States out of our offices in St. Louis, San Diego, and Washington, D.C. Today, we're talking about the topic of ICE attending your green card interview. And for the first 2/3 of the interview, you don't know that they're there. What am I talking about? Well, USCIS and ICE have apparently been trying out a new policy in San Diego and maybe in San Francisco. And that is when people come in as a married couple, we have a U.S. citizen sponsoring their foreign-born spouse for a green card, they are interacting with the ICE officer in real time while they're doing the interview, the immigration officer, and they're talking back and forth, trying to figure out, is this person who's sitting across from me out of status? And if they're out of status, they're taking them into custody. Now, we started reporting on this about a week ago when we started getting word through the American Immigration Lawyers Association listserv that this was happening in San Diego. The New York Times has now gotten interested in this, and I'm going to read you portions of the article that the New York Times posted just this week so that you understand exactly what's going on, okay? So they start by explaining there were three couples, Stephen and his British wife, Audrey and her German husband, and Jason, his Mexican wife. And the article goes on to say it was supposed to be a celebratory milestone. The spouse was finally getting their green card. Instead, as each interview with an immigration officer wrapped up, federal agents swooped in, handcuffed the foreign spouse, and took her or him away. Mr. Paul, whose wife was from Britain, he's 33, he said, "I had to take our baby from my crying wife's arms." And the British spouse was sent to an immigration detention center with hundreds of other people swept up in the Trump administration crackdown. Mr. Paul, the U.S. citizen, had to take leave from his job at the San Diego County Sheriff's Department to care for their child and try to secure her release. He said, "It's insane to have them rip our family apart. Whoever is directing this has completely lost touch with their mission to the country." In recent weeks, immigration lawyers in several cities have seen a surge in arrests of foreign spouses of Americans during interviews at USCIS. I don't know if that's true. All I've heard, and I've been following this day and night, is San Diego and San Francisco. In San Diego alone, immigration lawyers in the region estimate that several dozen foreign-born spouses have been detained since November 12th, when the new tactic first surfaced. So that's 16 days ago. An immigration attorney named Andrew Neiter, who used to be the head of the San Diego American Immigration Lawyers Association, said the estimate was based on members' communications about their clients. But it's hard to tell because some lawyers were able to stop the interview because they were able to figure out what was about to happen. And most of the people in which the spouse got taken into custody were cases in which they were there without their attorney. So once ICE gets on the scene and wants to take someone into custody, there's not that much the attorney can do. They can make a record, they can document everything, they can get ready for a lawsuit. And we're going to talk about lawsuits because you know how much I love lawsuits. And wait till you hear the banger end of this article, because at least for one of these couples, there is a happy ending at the end. And it's all because of my favorite tool, federal lawsuits in federal court. But we'll keep going. In every case, agents with ICE told the applicants they'd overstayed their business or tourist visas, and they said there was probable cause to believe that the spouse was removable from the United States. Here's an agency spokesman from USCIS. Apprehensions at USCIS Citizenship and Immigration Services offices may occur if individuals are identified as having outstanding warrants, being subject to court-issued removal orders, or having committed fraud, crimes, or other violations of immigration law, i.e. overstaying their visa or their case taking too long because they waited and waited and waited for USCIS to decide their case, said Matthew Tregesser, noting that the arrests were typically carried out by ICE. Now, in defense of all immigration officers, there are stories that at least 6 to 8 immigration officers in San Diego quit over this policy because it's total BS and it's not what they signed up for. They signed up to be immigration officers, not stoolies of ICE. The couples and their lawyers said they paid the fees. They submitted all the extensive paperwork. The foreign spouses had been fingerprinted and passed medical exams. None had criminal records. None had entered the country illegally. They had already been granted employment authorization. So this sounds like a regular old green card case. You guys have seen this before. You all know this. In 25 years of practice, I've never seen anything like this, Johanna Keamy, the Paul's lawyer, said, echoing the view of other lawyers. The proper procedure was exactly what they did. What's next? Revoking green cards from millions who followed these same steps? Exactly. All right. So as the article makes clear, an immigration statute passed by Congress in 1986 allows a spouse who entered the country lawfully to be eligible for a green card through marriage, even if the person's visa has expired. Congress was unambiguous. These people are eligible for green cards, said a former USCIS senior official named Doug Rand. While federal law does not prohibit spouses with expired visas from being detained and placed in deportation, in the past, they have rarely been detained like that. This is a whole new thing. And the important thing to keep in mind, and I'm really glad I read this article, and I'm really glad I've been thinking about this, because there has been no new executive order, no regulation, no ICE policy, nothing published. And you guys know, because you watch this show and you watch my channel, that when USCIS or ICE wants to make a policy change, what do they have to do? They have to publish a draft rule, and they have to allow the public to give notice and comment. And of course, these cowards, these bullies, instead of following the rules and following the law, which is to announce a new rule and allow individuals to comment and challenge before the final rule is adopted, they did it in the dark, and they did it in secret, and they did it with masks on, because that's the kind of cowards that they are. I will continue. Even as Mr. Trump has added vast numbers of officers to his mass deportation effort, frustration has gone through the roof in the administration, because guess what? They don't think they're deporting people fast enough. So what are they doing? They're breaking the law. They're having ICE officers in masks jump out of the waiting room and come in and detain people and take them into custody. Now they talk about three of the couples. Audrey Hessmark and her husband, Thomas Bilger, reported to the government office on November 20th, hoping he would have his green card for their first wedding anniversary 2 years later. Well, they should have waited just to hope it came a couple days later. He was a robotics engineer and fell in love with Ms. Hessmark during his business trips from Germany. They dated for 4 years and got married on November 22nd, 2024. And here's a nice picture of her in the New York Times. I'm sure she'd much rather have her husband having his green card than her picture in the New York Times. Tom was super excited to become a U.S. resident, so much so that he insisted on a cowboy-themed wedding. They immediately hired a lawyer and assembled documents from Germany and the U.S. to support their petition. They brought all the right evidence that the marriage was legit, photos of a vacation to Hawaii with his parents, leases, bank statements, utility bills, all other records. The officer asked routine questions, but the last one, according to Ms. Hessmark, the U.S. citizen, was whether her husband had ever overstayed his visa. He responded truthfully and recited their lawyer's assurance that this was a non-issue because it's supposed to be. Suddenly, we were ambushed by 3 masked men in bulletproof vests with guns who told Tom they had a warrant for his arrest, that he's here unlawfully. Now, why do these cowards need 3 people? Why do they need masks? And why in the hell do they need bulletproof vests? The agents handcuffed her husband, gave her a card with a QR code for the ICE website, and took him away. She did not hear from him again until the next morning, and he's been bouncing back and forth between a basement in downtown San Diego and an immigration detention center where he remains. This is what the Mrs. Hessmark said. I'm a U.S. citizen. Tom is the love of my life who happens to be born in Germany. We feel like we were tricked. We followed everything we were supposed to do, and now Tom is suffering. We're all suffering. Can you believe this? Some U.S. citizens have hired lawyers to seek the release of spouses through actions such as posting bond. That's what we're going to have to do. Once released, the foreign spouses must try to pursue green cards through immigration court, where judges are grappling with a years-long backlog. So they want you to either leave the United States and consular process, which is going to take 3 years, or they want you to go to immigration court, which is going to take 3 or 4 years. And maybe during periods of that, they'll detain you. This is absolutely ridiculous. Jason Cordero, 26, his wife Ludmilla, a Mexican national, was detained last week. During their interview, said she has been suffering from severe anxiety and having panic attacks in the detention facility. Of course she is. Mr. Cordero hails from a family of modest means. He and his wife have been working 2 jobs to get on stable footing since they got married. Little by little, we were moving up. He has 2 jobs, one at a distribution company and one at a fast food chain. When 3 ICE agents took Ms. Cordero into custody for overstaying her visa, she began to weep, as did the USCIS officer who'd been interviewing her. The ICE agents instructed his wife to remove her bracelets, earrings, and wedding band, which she placed in her small brown purse and handed to her husband. I was shocked and heartbroken. Here's a picture of him, too. I was shocked and heartbroken. We tried to be respectful because of everything about immigration we've been seeing on the news. Mr. Cordero said he'd been given his wife a kiss goodbye and tried to calm her, and then gone to find a lawyer who has filed a motion requesting a bond hearing. He said that he was prepared to spend his savings to pay whatever the legal costs to free his wife and reapply for a green card. This is total BS. He shouldn't have to spend that money. This is completely illegal. I really love this girl, and I don't want her to go, he said. Then the last one, here's Mr. Stephen Paul with their daughter. This is the county sheriff. Katie and Stephen Paul met on a gaming platform more than 2 years ago. This sounds like our stories that we talk about on the show all the time. Their friendship flourished into a romance, and she visited Mr. Paul several times under the visa waiver program for British nationals, which permits stays of up to 3 months at a time. She joined Mr. Paul's family on a trip to Japan, and the couple married last October. 2 days later, they discovered she was pregnant with this guy, Alan. That's him right there. Now 4 months old. They filed their green card petition in July. Their interview last week was going smoothly, he said, until 3 ICE agents walked in and informed them that Ms. Paul, who was holding her infant, was under arrest. Their lawyer, Ms. Kimi, who was participating by phone, objected, saying this had never happened before. P.S. That's why you should always have a lawyer in the room. Not that much would have happened differently, but attending by phone, all they have to do is hit a button, and I'm sure ICE wanted to do that if they didn't do that. The attorney said, I was completely dumbfounded. She said, I went numb. Mr. Paul said the agents had told him that they disagreed with the directive to arrest Ms. Paul, but they had to follow orders. I think there's a new movie coming out right now with Russell Crowe, and it's all about following orders. What was that called? Oh, yes, Nuremberg. That was the defense that Nazis used, that they were just following orders. Now, I think this was probably a USCIS officer who is probably upset that they're caught up in this detention game of ICE. Here's what Mr. Paul said. They are having them grab everyone they can. This is just not right. After Mr. Paul learned from his wife that the authorities were threatening to deport her without a hearing, he said, here we go. Their lawyer filed a lawsuit in federal court in San Diego to halt her removal and secure her release. In response, the government approved Ms. Paul's green card on Tuesday and freed her. They know what they're doing is illegal. They know that they have no legal justification for doing it. They know that they're cowards. And it took a federal lawsuit to get them to change their mind. And look how fast they did it, because they don't want a judge to decide that what they're doing is illegal. They want to keep doing it to other people who don't have the means or don't know that they should hire an attorney. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing with your tax dollars. It's absolutely deplorable. Now, we're 19 minutes into this video. Should I take comments or should I keep going? I think I want to keep going because there's another part of this, which is we have a copy of the policy. Should I keep going and finish the video, or should I make it a separate video? Everybody in the comments, let me know. I'm going to take a little break. This is what we do during the video. We take little breaks. See, you guys are getting to see it all. I hope this is interesting for you. It looks, based on the comments, that people are fired up. I know I'm fired up, if you can't tell. I say we keep going. What do you guys say? Separate video? Kevin says separate video. Okay, then I'll do this one tomorrow. When I do tomorrow's, I'll do the same thing tomorrow. That got me fired up. That's what's going on. Okay, so let me shoot the ending of that so that we have it, and then I'll turn the show over to you guys. Okay, we'll do the policy tomorrow. All right. Either way is fine. Okay, either way is fine. Well, I want to give you guys time for the show, so I'll do that. Everyone's saying no, Jim. Keep going and inform us. Okay, all right, let's do it. That way, you guys can do something fun tomorrow. Keep going, Unc. Hey, what's this? I've been getting called Unc lately. I think this is like 6'7". I think this is one of those things that I want to be called Unc. Okay, all right, we're gonna keep going. But that was 19 minutes. This is gonna be a long ass video. But I think this might be the time to do a long ass video. Okay, it's Friday. That's right. All right, here we go. And this policy that the New York Times is talking about, the basis for what we're seeing in each of those stories that I told you from that amazing article from the New York Times, comes from a memo that has been sent out at various field offices. So far, we think it's just San Francisco and San Diego. I've seen no evidence from any other office. I've gotten on listservs of other American Immigration Lawyers Association chapters to try to find out if it's happening in other places. I've got 2 interviews on Monday. And so now I know what to do. Now I know that if I have a lawsuit ready, that hopefully they're going to back down the next day. We'll see what happens. But we're going to challenge this for sure, because this is completely illegal. But we have our hands on the policy memo that sets this forth. And I tried reading this the other day on the Immigration Answer Show. The audio was choppy. So we're going to go over it here. This is from a supervisor at USCIS. Now, I don't 100% know that this is a actual valid policy. You'll see there's no letterhead or anything else. I believe what happened was a courageous USCIS officer copied this, and I believe that a courageous USCIS officer copied this and put it into a Google Doc and shared it with an attorney, printed it out and said, please make sure that your fellow immigration attorneys know about this. This is a real act of bravery by a federal USCIS officer. So, I make fun of and tease and tell jokes and complain about immigration officers, but some brave immigration officer went out on a limb. It sounds like something out of Cassian Andor and the Evil Empire, but they got the file out of the office and they got it to the immigration attorneys, and it's going to help us protect a lot of people, especially those that don't have attorneys to go into their interviews with them. So here's what the memo says. Good afternoon. Per yesterday's meeting, it was requested to send information regarding the logistics of the facilitated apprehension interview process. These guys already have a name for it, FAIP, facilitated apprehension interview process. Please let me know if you have any questions. Isn't this grand? Scheduled interviews are being vetted by the fraud unit by identifying those who ICE ERO thinks might be subject to removal. The list is populated to our facilitated apprehension spreadsheet and assigned to senior immigration service officers for analysis. ICE ERO notifies USCIS which cases they're interested in. USCIS assigns those interviews to ISOs, prioritizing those on conditional green cards or IW work. I don't know exactly what that means. And then they have a separate room assigned at the field office to handle these interviews, and they even list the room numbers. The SFR ISO schedule is updated to reflect the interview assignment as a comment to the appropriate cell indicating the time, alien number, and room number of the interview. The immigration service officer is notified by email and provided the date, time of the interview, the analysis from the fraud unit, and the SISO who completed the analysis. Clerical has been notified, so those interviews are removed from OTT and the files are getting to where they need to go. If your team member has not received all the physical A files by the date of the interview, please notify blah, blah, blah. Prior to the interview, the ISO can review the file and speak with the senior immigration services officer who completed the analysis to identify potential issues that will need to be addressed during the interview. The amount of case review SISO discussion should be limited to no more than 30-45 minutes. In addition, the ISO 3 who have been completing these interviews can also assist and provide guidance on the best way to structure these interviews. And then there's a time frame and how they want you to do it. An hour before the scheduled interview, the SC sets up a chat. I don't know who the SC is. I should figure out who that is. The SC sets up a chat with the ISO, SISO, AFOD, so that's the Assistant Field Office Director, and the SC. The current message being used says, hold on, I need to kick somebody out. Oops, hold on. That person's gone. Don't be annoying, people. All right. So there's a timeline that USCIS has set forth on how they're going to interact with ICE. And they say an hour before the scheduled interview, the SC sets up a chat with the ISO, that's the Immigration Service Officer, the Senior Immigration Service Officer, Assistant Field Office Director, and the SC. The current message being used says instructions. Update this chat once you have called the applicant into your office and the interview will be started. You need to inform us who is with the applicant. Is there an interpreter there, attorney, family members, or others? They want to know if there's an attorney there. That's interesting. Please indicate in the chat if there are any health conditions identified in the form I-693. We don't want any cooties. If you have all the facts and evidence to show the applicant is not approvable today, you must inform us immediately when you make that determination. If the applicant appears to be approvable, you must articulate how the applicant has overcome the issue found in the initial analysis and include this information in this chat. This is with ICE and ICE standing over them electronically checking, and like they're going to listen to the officer. Will then respond to inform you if ERO intends to move forward with an arrest. If an arrest will occur, you need to go on to the next steps. Please provide an update approximately 30 minutes before the anticipated end of the interview regarding whether or not the case appears approvable. Continue to keep us informed about the case's approvability from that point forward. Please inform us again when you're approximately 20 minutes, 10 minutes, and 5 minutes from concluding the interview. Slow down your interview pace during this time until you receive notification from us regarding how ICE will proceed. If the apprehension will occur, ICE will be walked to your office once you state that you're 5 minutes from concluding the interview. The ISO conducts the interview and follows the instructions in the chat. This interview should be treated as any other interview, addressing the issues identified prior to the interview. The chat should be updated based on that timeline I just gave you. These interviews are not expected to take longer than any other routine interview. The ISO first adjudicates the I-130, if any. After the adjudication of the I-130, that's the marriage-based petition, the Immigration Service Officer should escort the petitioner to the waiting room. So in other words, they're kicking the U.S. citizen out. Now that's an interesting thing. It doesn't sound like that happened according to those news articles, but that's what they say. And maybe this policy was just for San Francisco or it came out after. After the adjudication of the I-130, the ISO should escort the petitioner to the waiting room for the duration of the interview. The ISO then moves on to the I-45 portion of the interview. During this time, the Assistant Field Office Director and the SC are communicating with ICE to determine if they are interested in apprehension. Hey, fellows, are you guys interested in apprehension? Not, hey, are you assholes feeling like detaining this person who we could give a green card to today? We could approve this person today. But because of Donald Trump and because of Stephen Miller, you're going to take them into custody. You're going to detain them because you have deportation numbers to hit, not because of anything about the case, not because of any change in the law, not because of any rule that you publish, but because, you're bullies and because you can do this. ICE ERO has paperwork on their end, so it's vital to keep the chat informed of how long is left in the interview. At the required time variables, the ISO will be notified if they need to slow down the interview. Slow down. We got to get our paperwork ready. We got to get 3 more guys with guns and bulletproof vests, and we got to get our masks on. We can't come in there without our masks on. Oh my gosh, no way. The ISO should make sure any physical A file copy is prepped for turnover to ICE. The AFOD will meet the ICE agents at the elevator and escort them to the interviewing office. Once the ISO sees the Assistant Field Office Director, the officer locks the computer, takes their PIV, which I think is this little card they have to lock when they go in and out of the interviews, leaves the prepped A file on the desk, and exits the office to return to their own office. After the apprehension occurs, that's just so clinical. After the apprehension occurs, let's not talk about what's really going on. Let's not talk about ripping babies out of their mother's arms. Let's not talk about making women take their wedding rings off so they can go off to detention. The officer may return to the office to collect their computer. The apprehension takes 5 to 10 minutes. Oh, they've got it down. The trains will run on time. Yeah, we got it down, 5 minutes. And the Assistant Field Office Director will escort the ICE agents and applicant outside of USCIS space. If the applicant is not an arriving alien, the officer will check to see if an NTA is issued by ICE. If it is issued, then the officer will admin close the green card case. Oh, isn't that convenient? Now, ICE, because we told them to, issued an NTA, and then once they issued the NTA, then, we have to admin close the case. We can't approve this green card because now you're in ICE custody, even though 5 minutes ago you weren't. And we could have given you a green card right then. If the alien is charged as an arriving alien, the ISO should draft and receive concurrence from the Senior Immigration Services Officer to issue the RFE or NOID for the evidence that prevented same-day adjudication of the I-45. There's nothing that prevented same-day adjudication of the I-45. That's you. Once the response is received, ISOs should determine the state of the proceedings. If the applicant was issued a final order of removal, which is legally not right, you can't get a final order of removal. I mean, I guess technically if you are a visa waiver program ESTA person, then maybe you could have gotten a removal order, but generally that doesn't make sense. But this is what it says. If the applicant was issued a final order of removal, USCIS generally does not exercise favorable discretion, and the removable order should be considered a significant adverse factor, and any denial of adjustment should include the grounds cited in the removal order. This doesn't make any sense. Number 19, last paragraph. If ICE ERO is not interested in the apprehension, then the ISO will be notified to conclude the interview as a normal interview and adjudicate as appropriate. Well, I'm really excited. I mean, this is a terrible, terrible program, a terrible, terrible plan, but I'm excited because now I know how to attack it. Now I know how to attack it. That this is a formal change in policy that should have been subject to notice and comment, and that they didn't do it. So what they're doing is completely illegal, which is why when that last couple filed a lawsuit in federal court in San Diego, they backtracked as fast as they could because they know what they're doing is illegal. So in any event, if you find yourself in a situation like this, if you find yourself going to an immigration interview, or if you just went to an immigration interview and your spouse was taken into custody, or if you're worried about being taken into custody, feel free to give us a call if you want us to be your attorney. So calling our office, we don't do consultations. We don't talk to people about their cases. We don't help people get their cases ready for filing, right? That's not what we do. But if you want to hire us to be your lawyer, because we have to be super focused right now. We have to be dialed in on the people that we can actually help, the people who actually want to hire us. I just looked it up. We got like 350 calls so far this week, new contacts. we have to focus on the people who want to hire us. So as much as we'd love to be able to talk to everybody about their own situation, that's what the Immigration Answer Show is for. And so if you want one of our free resources, we have a ton of them. We have this Immigration Answer Show that we do 3 or 4 times a week where people can call and ask me a question. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel and turn on alerts. I get an email whenever we go live. You should too. You can also sign up for our email alerts whenever you want to know about when we're going live on the show. You can do that. You can also follow us on TikTok at Immigration Hacking. And you can also join our free Facebook group. We have 15,000 people in there. It's called the Immigrant Home Facebook group, and you can join there. If you're thinking about hiring us, though, give us a call, 314-961-8200, or email us, info@hackingimmigrationlaw.com. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next video. All right. That was, are you available for a consultation today? Marie Ann, I'm sorry, I am not. I share the information with as much people as I can. If you want to hire us, no one's working today. I'm the only one at work today. My team will be back on Monday, but that's the latest. I would love to hear your thoughts. Please share your thoughts on TikTok or YouTube, because actually you guys, I actually learn a lot from you guys, and sometimes I miss things, and sometimes I don't. Oh, we got a LinkedIn user. Oh, we never have a LinkedIn user. No, let me know what you think about the policy, not about how I did on the video, Rafi. Thank you, though. I'm interested to know, what are your guys' thoughts, especially those of you who've gone through green card interviews. I mean, can you imagine if this happened when you went in for your green card interview? What would be going through your mind? What would you do? Sticky Monkey says, I'm going to wait for a regime change. I would love to hear your thoughts on all this. Instead of people like Zubair spamming the TikTok, please stop doing that. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Laura, what do you think? I'm really interested. I know there was a lot of comments going on. Maybe I can look at the comments while it was going on. Let's see. The amount of euphemisms in this document makes me think of someone trying to politely describe their work in a slaughterhouse. Yeah, exactly, Laura. That's right. Whoever released the memo, brave guy or gal. That's right, Gloria. You're right about that. What does permanently pause even mean? Yes. Aubrey says, very specific instructions. Kevin says, they probably don't even know what the rule of law means. Star likes my purple tie. I told you guys I was going to wear my purple tie, and I didn't the other day. SC, no, not Service Center. I'm going to run it all through ChatGPT and have it try to figure out what those abbreviations are for me. I just don't know. I kicked that Napoleon guy out. He's a pain. Interview coming up. Truly Desire says, interview coming up, and I'm definitely freaking out. This is so unjust. So let's talk about that from Truly Desired's point of view. Hopefully you have a lawyer. Hopefully the lawyer is going to go to the interview. Hopefully the lawyer knows about this. I posted this to the DC and the Kansas City, St. Louis listservs, and there was not a lot of back and forth and not a lot of discussion. I think a lot of people are just focused on deportation in those listservs, so I get it. But I think this is if this is a real big thing, it's going to be very problematic. And Rafi's right. Good USCIS officers shouldn't quit. They open the space for MAGA shills. That's true. And of course, for MAGA, that's a benefit, not a detriment, right? Yeah, the show's on LinkedIn too. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and let me let some people into the waiting room. So there's only 3 people in the waiting room. Let me post. We'll get going on the questions here in a couple minutes. There's the link if you want to come ask me a question. If you're on TikTok and you want to find us on YouTube, look for Jim Hacking or the Immigration Answer Show on YouTube, and you can come over and ask me a question. There's only 3 people waiting in the waiting room, and let me bring them over. There's 4 now. Okay, so I haven't done this in a while, and I'm by myself today, so you got to bear with me. Okay, now people are filling up. All right, yeah, so come on over, people. We'll get to all of you. I'm going to go to Mikey, AOS interview, and then I-130 approved. Anybody else have any comments or anything? Oh, here we go. can I have the email so I can get notifications? So if you email your email address to info@hackingimmigrationlaw.com and just say, we got to do a better job of figuring out that landing page, but there's a landing page. But if you send an email to info@hackingimmigrationlaw.com and just put in alert or update or show, just put the word show in the memo line. That's all you got to do. Just email the word show to info@hackingimmigrationlaw.com, and then you'll get an alert. We'll add you to the list. And then on Monday, we'll add you to the list, and then you'll start getting those. All right, let's go to Mikey. Hello.
Hey, Jim. How are you? Can you hear me well?
Yes. What's up?
Hey, thank you for letting me join. I watch your show a lot. Thank you.
Go for
So,
it.
so yeah, I have two questions. The first question. So, just to give you a background, I got married in 2019 to an American citizen, and then I got my conditional residence, and we got a RFE. I submitted not enough pictures. My lawyer wasn't very helpful too. So he was like, "Hey, just give me like two pictures. That should be fine." And then we submitted that. After that, I got annoyed. Notice intent to deny. Basically, because they found a discrepancy with the address. We weren't living together due to work. I lived in Kentucky and she lived in Ohio, but that didn't stop us from, seeing each other during weekends, holidays, and stuff like that. So they sent a field officer into the address I lived in Kentucky, even though I had told him I lived in Cincinnati. And yeah, they sent the NOID. So after the NOID, I responded to their letter, and then my wife and I were in the separation stage by then. Um, so we decided to divorce and then changed it to a waiver. And so my first question is, I have a wedding I need to go to. I'm a groomsman for my best friend. I'm from Ethiopia. Do you think it will be a problem now since I'm in a pending stage and I had my NOID and stuff like that? So that's my first question. What do you think? Would you suggest if you were in my position, would you go to your friend's wedding in Ethiopia
Can you see the screen?
until you become citizen? Oh, okay. Oh, okay, okay.
So
But
that's my general rule. But for you, that's even more. Now let's talk about a lot of things.
okay.
Um, my lawyer said two pictures was not enough.
Yeah,
That's nuts. Especially,
yeah,
you said they found a discrepancy in our case. There wasn't a discrepancy. That's a fundamental problem with your case is that you didn't live together.
yes.
So, and then you said later on, you said, hey, by that point we were getting separated, but even when you filed, you were separated. So
When we filed the waiver, yes, we were separated,
so
but
this,
not the joint.
so right. So this whole case hasn't been handled well, right? So
Hmm.
let me tell you what my thought is. So when you live apart from your spouse, if you're applying for a 2-year green card, a 10-year green card, or for citizenship under the 3-year rule, you've got to if you're living separately, you have to overwhelm them with evidence. You're starting behind everybody else. You're starting with them thinking, oh, this thing's fake. They don't even live together, right?
Yeah.
So that was a problem. So then so the Noid was on the 751.
The joint, yes, 751.
Is
That
that
was the
is that one still pending?
No, because we moved it to a waiver. We switched it to a waiver now. Now
Okay.
that I have my decree from the divorce,
Okay, so when you tell me we switched it, who's we?
my lawyer and I guess,
So
switched the
so in other
case.
words, you have the same lawyer that you and your wife had before.
Yes, unfortunately, yeah.
Unfortunately, what do you mean unfortunately?
I could have made a better decision, I guess, by not continuing with him, I guess. Yeah.
And that lawyer had a conflict because that lawyer represented you and your wife, and then you got divorced. So unless your wife said, "Yeah, sure, lawyer, go ahead and represent Mikey," it's fine.
Yeah. She was aware of it, and she
But she has to give written consent.
yeah.
So
So as part of the waiver, oh yeah, one thing I didn't tell you, Jim. So when you know how they did the RFE and I didn't give them a lot of evidence, but when we did the waiver and then during the NOID, we gave them a lot of evidence. So it was like I literally looked at it as a project. Like I went through texts, pictures, responsibilities, all of that. Like it was about 120 page. I could have done that earlier, but I told them in the NOID, in light of answering your questions for the NOID, the discrepancy, I want to get this chance to, kind of show you what I had.
Okay. And then let's just touch on a couple of things too. So that's good. I'm really glad you did that. And just to be clear,
Mm-hmm.
you didn't file a new 751. You just told them that you wanted them to treat the one that was on file as a solo with a loss, as a waiver with a lawsuit.
No, it was more on. So my lawyer, I saw the first page of my whole file. So what he did is, my client are about to get divorced, so we want to withdraw this and then file a waiver, is what he said
But
in that page.
did you pay a new filing fee and file a new case?
Yes, I did.
Good.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I wanted. Okay, good.
And I got my extension, the 48 months. I don't know if that means anything, but
It means
I
a
got
little.
mine.
I think you were about to tell me earlier. Hey, in those 125 pages, there was some evidence from my ex-wife that she still thinks that this is a real marriage, or were you not going to say that?
Oh,
Like,
and
she helped you?
say that again. Sorry, Jim, I lost
Sure.
you.
Sorry, when you and your lawyer refiled, did your ex-wife give you any evidence in support of you getting your 10-year green card?
Yes, she did. She did. Yep.
Like what, an affidavit or a letter?
Her letter, like a 2-page letter, basically stating how we met and how things went south, like how things weren't working out, mainly due to financial issues, of course.
Awesome. So that's great. So now we get to your question, which was, with everything you know now, Jim, are you comfortable with me leaving the United States? So you saw what my advice is for everybody, but for somebody with a shaky 751, I think you've done everything to get it right. But you were on life support when you got that NOID, and then all of a sudden you said, "Oh, hey, wait, guys, we're getting divorced after all." So you're talking about Trump. You're talking about the people at USCIS now, and they would love to deny you while you're out of the country and then not let you back in.
That's what I'm scared.
Yeah. So no way.
It's a risk, right? Very high risk. If they deny it, I can't enter, right? Even at the border. Like, let's say I fly back to the US.
They should let you in. But what if they don't? So it's not a high risk of it happening. It's just a high consequence if it does happen.
Okay, I see. That answers my question. So yeah, I'm probably not gonna go then. I'm not risking it. And then oh yeah, one thing I didn't tell you too. I did file my naturalization. I don't know why I rushed through it, but they denied that because since my case is with a waiver now, the joint is withdrew, right? So they denied my N400 because of that.
For you and everybody else, if you apply for citizenship on the 3-year rule, you have to remain married to that spouse up until the day that you naturalize. So that whole thing.
So my resume doesn't look good. Resume in a sense where my history, like that's where I'm kind of worried. I guess my second question is, do you think I have a strong case? I mean, I didn't give you much details, but from a higher level, what do you think? You think I will get called for an interview? I'm just waiting for the waiver application now.
Definitely gonna get an interview. It sounds better than it was. Probably could be better. My big question is, at the time that you married this person, were you in status or were you out of status?
I was a OPT.
Okay, so that's helpful. So then they don't think you got married just to clean up being out of status. So that part's good.
Yeah, and we dated for 2 years. We didn't rush anything.
So that's good. Okay, so how long after you got your green card did things in the marriage start to be bad?
2023. I got married 2019. 2023 is when things weren't working out. The distance took a toll of it too with our relationship.
But what I want to know is, first,
how long? So
how long after you got the green card?
3-4 years later.
Okay, so your 751 was pending for a while before.
A while, yes.
Okay. All right, well, keep us posted. Let us know how it goes.
Yeah, and one thing. So I'm in Dallas. Do you guys help? I really wanted to contact you and then see what we can, if I ever get an interview or something. I feel like
we have a
we'll be
lawyer.
a great team.
We have a lawyer in Dallas. We have a lawyer in Dallas. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I'm saying like I'm sure you have a lawyer. It's a firm, right? Like, but I wanted to work with you specifically.
Me?
Yes,
Oh,
you.
I don't handle cases anymore. I mean, very, very rarely. These two I got on Monday are for various reasons, but I don't really. But our firm does. Yeah, I don't. We all handle our cases the same, and we all talk about every case. So
Okay, so it won't be necessarily you. It might be your team.
it's very unlikely that it would be me.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, okay. I will make something work. Thank you so much, Jim.
Thanks for the call.
You too. Thanks. You have a great one.
All right, all right. I got AOS interview, Mo N400, I-130 approved, and then we're gonna have real trouble on the show. Ghana Joloff. We were just talking about Joloff, and I told everybody about the fight we had. Maybe on TikTok, people have some thoughts. Who has the best Joloff? I am sort of partial to Senegalese Jollof, but everyone tells me that's not the best. But that's the first Jollof I ever had. That's why. AOS interview. Hello.
Hey, thanks for doing this. This is a very helpful forum, and I really appreciate all of us do. So this is relevant to the first part of your video.
Okay.
I have an interview coming up for my I-485 in a month, the first week of January. I was in a valid visa status at the time that I filed my application. I've never overstayed a visa, never been out of status before. But specifically, I was on an H-1B at the time that I'd filed. I was laid off between the application being filed and the interview, which means my grace period for my H-1B will end in the last week of December. And then I've got my interview in the first week of January. So technically, I will be a week out of status at the time of my interview. Is this something I should be concerned about, given some of these recent movements? Do you think, yeah?
I'm really glad that you brought this up because I forgot to talk about this in the video. But basically, we need to talk about sort of 4 different categories of people, okay? So people like you who might show up at an interview. So there's people who entered without inspection. There's people who were out of status at the time that they filed and would have a bar if their case is denied. There's the people who were out of status at the time they filed and they wouldn't have a bar if their case gets denied. And then there's people like you who are in status at the time of filing and out of status on the day of the interview. Now, there is a specific regulation based on statute that says that all the time that you're here in the United States while your green card case is pending is a period of authorized stay. So I believe just as your H-1B grace period carried you over for 60 days, that the filing of your green card before your 60-day grace period, I mean, would it have been better to file it before you were laid off? Yes. But if we're crafting together legal arguments, you had the legal right to stay here for 60 days. You didn't accrue any unlawful presence, that you maintain that by filing the green card application on time, and that you're in status all the way up until the day of the interview. So to me, that means that while you're there at USCIS at your interview, that you are eligible and the USCIS officer can give you a green card, right? So that's the law. That's how things should be. That's how I see it. And that's how I think a federal judge would see it. That being said, if your case was one of those ones set between November 12th and now in San Diego, and they were running this policy, they might have tried to do this to you. I don't know. They might have. I think that they're probably going to focus on people that were out of status on the day of filing, but I don't know that for sure. And we've been trying to figure that out. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. Okay, so it's a little bit of a gray area. I see what you're saying. And I guess I could do something like maintain status by filing for a change of visa to B1, B2, right? Like technically, I'd still be in status even on the day of the interview, or.
I think that would be overkill, and I don't think that would be. If they're going to try this for you, I think that means that file. If you walk in there with a receipt notice and say, "Oh, ha ha ha, checkmate, bitches! I filed this I-539 while my green card case was pending," I don't think they're going to find that very compelling. I don't think anybody would find that very compelling.
I got you. So it's kind of sound as it stands. Don't try and changes. Okay.
Yeah. Now, would I walk into the San Diego field office without an attorney? Probably not. Like, because this is right now, this is where it's happening: San Diego and San Francisco.
Gotcha. So my last question here would be: so we do have an attorney. She's very competent. I just didn't want to disturb her, for what may be panic. I'm filing out of the New York field office. Like, is there any way to track when it spreads from one field office to the others, or?
Great question. I'm sure she's very competent, and so you should talk to her about this. And what the tell is. So let me tell you a story real quick, okay? So when I first started suing USCIS for asylum delays, the first one I filed got scheduled for an interview the Friday after Donald Trump took office the first time. So that would be like 2017. It was on the Friday after. And during that interview, this weird thing was happening. Like, the officer would talk to us. The officer would write down what we said. She'd write down her questions. There was a nice back and forth. But then there was this weird thing happening where, you know how you can sort of tell when somebody's like either looking up in the corner at where their text messages come in, or they sort of ignore you for 60 seconds while they're typing to their friend. If that shit keeps happening during the interview and they do the I-130 first, if I were somebody and that was happening, and at the moment it's just me and the officer in the room, I would say, hey, before we start the 45, I want to know, is this an enforcement action? Is this something that I need to worry about? Is ICE here? Now, they might not tell you all that, but they might tell you that there's an enforcement action pending. In San Diego, they did. So what I would say is, if you find weird things happening and you feel like they're talking to somebody, like there's somebody else in the room who's not supposed to be there or who is not actually there, if that happens, or if there's a supervisor there, or if they're talking back and forth, or if they're stepping out or doing any weird shit like that, to me, that's a sign that they want to take me into custody. And what I would do, and what I will do on Monday, and what I will do in the future, if this happens with one of my cases, is I'll ask those questions about, is this an enforcement action? And if they say yes, then I'll say, thank you. Please approve the I-130. Can you approve the I-130 today? I'd really try to get them to approve the I-130. And then I would say, we want to back out of here. We would like to leave. And if allowed to leave, we want to suspend or pause or admin close our 45. I think it's better than getting into removal and getting into detention. Although I'll say that based on that last throwaway line in the New York Times, the person got detained for a few days and they got a green card on the back end. So not saying anybody should want to go do detention on purpose, but and I don't think you're going to be detained. I don't think you need to worry about this, but I'm just saying this for everybody. I think that there's that pausing the green card has its own costs, in that you're not going to get a green card and you're going to be in this limbo, and they could still mail you an NTA to appear in immigration court.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Thank you. This is really helpful.
Awesome. Have a good day. Good luck. Let us know how it goes, okay?
Will do. Thank you, Jim.
You got it. All right. I'm going to let some more people into the waiting room. Let's see. Oh, no, that's not what I want. People. All right. We're going to go to Mo, and then we're going to have our Jolliffe call. Hello, Mo.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing good, and happy Thanksgiving, by the way.
Thank you. Did you have a nice Thanksgiving?
Oh yeah, I'm full. I can't eat anymore.
Good.
Anyway, Jim. So my question is so easy. So early this November 7th, I passed my N400. My interview went so good and went well and smooth. There is no issue, and I'm here waiting for my oath, because now it's been like 3 weeks waiting. So my question, so what time frame, or maybe how many days I need to wait more to do something?
120.
120 days. Okay, after that. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Good job, Mo. Glad you got
Thank-
recommended for approval.
Thank you so much.
Hey, let us know when you're done so we can add you to our list, okay?
Okay, so I can give you some little information. By the way, this is a good information because I talked to you before. I was in the iOS payment plan, and the officer, she didn't ask me for nothing because I upload everything before I went there. You know what I mean? And put everything necessary. I was begging her to check my documents, but she refused to. She said, "I see everything in the screen, so you don't need. I don't need to see anything." And she was like typing in her computer that I'm doing my payment on time. You know, so maybe this is a good information for the people with the same case. I don't know if the things will change after October 20th. You know, there is a lot of misinformation or something like this around social media. But I'm talking about my experience. It was great. I was in Raleigh, North Carolina, so the officer was the she was great, and we had a good conversation, and it went so good. So my advice for people: be ready, upload everything before you go to an interview. Be honest, especially be you. You know what I mean?
Awesome, Mo. I love it. Thanks so much for the talk, and let us know when you get your citizenship. Okay.
Absolutely. Have a good day.
All right. People are asking me, Jim, what are your thoughts on the Afghanistan situation, and can you share those? I'm going to take another day or two to sort through all that so I can share my thoughts maybe on Saturday or Sunday, probably Sunday or Monday. Obviously, it's a tragic situation that those guardsmen got shot. Other than that, I think what's happening as far as pausing immigration from certain countries because one person shot two people is illegal, but we'll talk about it more. Okay. Laura said, did anyone else eat way too much at dinner yesterday? I went to bed with a stomachache. So I haven't told you guys this yet, but I started 75 hard when we got back from the cruise. So yesterday was day 6. So I had a little bit of turkey and a little bit of green beans, and that was all I had. So I did not go to bed with a tummy ache, which is the first time ever on Thanksgiving I didn't go to bed or wake up with a tummy ache. So I'm feeling good. I went to the gym this morning and doing my thing, trying to get back in shape, people. All right. But thanks for the question, Laura. All right. Ghana Joloff. Hello.
Hi, Jim. Can you hear me?
Yes. How are you?
Okay, I'm good. You?
Good, good.
So let's settle this now. Jollof originated from the Wolof tribe from Senegal,
Mm-hmm.
copied by Nigerians and perfected by Ghanaians.
Mm-hmm.
So case closed.
Okay. That makes sense because I've told you guys before, the very, very, very first immigration case I ever touched was for an imam from Senegal who found himself in ICE detention at the airport here in St. Louis, and all he wanted to do was go home. And so that was my first case ever, was to try to get someone deported faster. And Wolof is the language in Senegal, right? I think. Yeah.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And then I
So
became friends
Jollof,
with,
Wolof.
yeah, I became friends with some of his friends, and that's when I had Jollof back in 2005 or so. All right, so what's
Right.
up? It's
Okay,
settled.
so exactly. Coming from Ghana, you know how the story goes. Marriage number one invalidates marriage number two because of foreign divorce decree.
Yep.
Is there anything a lawyer can write to immigration to accept the foreign divorce decree?
To what about the divorce decree?
I'm saying, is there anything a lawyer can write or add or an affidavit that can be done for USCIX to accept that foreign divorce decree, or we have to start all over again?
The only thing we've had success, and we have had success with this, is so let's say that my name's Jim. I'm from Ghana. I was married back home. Maybe it's a customary marriage, maybe it's not. But there's a question now about the divorce decree. Before,
Exactly.
if that case was presented to me, before I even filed the case, I would say I'm only taking this case if you hire a lawyer, the best lawyer in Ghana that you can find, that you can afford, that was completely uninvolved with the divorce, and send them down to the
Right.
courthouse and verify whether it's real or not. Because that's what the State Department
Okay.
does. They actually have people now in the embassies who do that. So if you're the
Right.
second one, if you're the second one doing that, you're screwed. So you want to do that before you spend, because if somebody came to me like that and they had married someone in the United States and wanted to rely on that marriage, and we were worried about the old divorce decree and we didn't have an attorney that would say it was legit, then I would tell Jim, Ghana, I would say, Jim, you're living in Chicago now. Just file a divorce decree, file for divorce in Chicago from the wife back in Ghana, then marry the person from America and then file. That's much better.
Okay.
So if that didn't happen, if the case is already on file and you're getting an RFE or annoyed or something, your only shot as far as can a lawyer write a letter to help is to get them to do what I just said.
Okay. And I mean, thanks for by listening to you all, I mean, over and over again. We did a FOIA, and it came back. Well, we found we found a notice of intent to rescind in the FOIA, which we never received, and it came back with 450 pages and 200 pages redacted. Is that normal?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay. My last question is, what exactly does USCIS forgive when you get married to a U.S. citizen?
Oh, generally, what they forgive is visa overstays and work without authorization.
And it's still valid. They're still doing that now.
They have to. They. I think that's by statute. Yeah, they haven't changed the statute. Yeah.
Okay. Great. All right. Okay.
As long
Thank you. And
as long as you tell the truth. As long as you tell the truth.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for the call.
I appreciate you, Jim. Thank you. Okay. Bye.
All right. That was. He says it's decided. I don't know. Maybe we don't have any Nigerians watching, because usually that brings up much discussion. I got interesting interview. Hello.
Hi, how are you? Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, so I had my interview on Monday, right? And it was so interesting, right? So what happened was I was married before, and I had an application in. However, the marriage and in abuse, I applied for VAWA. Meanwhile, my VAWA was processing. I met my current wife right now, right? And then
Is this Nigeria?
no, not Nigeria.
Good.
Yeah, this is not Nigeria. This is from the Caribbean.
Okay. It's just we get this fact pattern a lot from Nigerians. That's why I asked.
Oh, that's no problem, no problem.
Okay.
So after that, while I get my VAWA was pending, I end up withdraw because I end up got married to my current wife, right? So ever I was able to get the 2 year green card without an interview there because of, my evidence and everything was good.
So based on the marriage to wife number 2.
Yes, I got my
Yep.
so after that, I put in I got my for my remove of condition. I got the letter, then I waited 3 years and about 2 months, and I put in the citizenship, you know, because I was having my condition pending. So I
Yep.
went to the interview on Monday. When I went to the interview on Monday, it's like the officer was so mad at me. Like, he didn't say morning, he didn't say nothing. After that, the first question he asked me if I have any kids. I said, not yet. Then he was like, he didn't look at the second marriage at no thought. He was like, oh, I have no problem with the second marriage. But however, he was questioning me about the first marriage. Why did I withdraw the application? And why, when I filed the VAWA, there was no police report? And he was there behaving real bad. So the lawyer that came to me asked him, what was the reason why you're asking the client all these questions? So his response was, oh, I feel like the first marriage he went to, it's just for immigration benefits. And he walked outside, he came back in, then he started asking me a question. How did I get my visa to come here? Where did I met my first wife? And, you know, then he was there till he went from 100 attitude. Like, for example, his attitude was really bad. So when I start explaining everything to him, and the statement that I had for my VAWA start matching what I'm saying to him, he went start being nice and stuff. Fast forward that when I went in with the lawyer, he was like asking the lawyer, "What are you doing here?" So the lawyer said, "I'm here to represent him," and the lawyer was given the paper G28. Like he was like, "No, we don't take that. We don't take that." And then he went outside and went go talk to the supervisor, and then he talked to the supervisor. He allowed the lawyer in, and he take the paper, right?
Of course he did.
hmm After that, he back to what I was saying now. He started asking me question about the marriage, the first marriage, and what happened. So I said, "Why does it end?" So I told him it ended in abuse. So that was the reason why. And he was like, "Why did I withdraw it?" and all this type of stuff. So I explained to him I got married to my current wife, so I cannot adjudicate a case under, the VAWA no more. You understand?
Mhm.
Then he started asking me. So he went over my I-751 petition with the removal of condition. He went in and stuff. First of all, he told my current wife to step outside. The interview lost about 31 minutes or 32 minutes. Step outside, and then he said he cannot make a decision on the case. He has to look thoroughly in this case because of the first marriage. He has to look thoroughly in it. And then when we were leaving, he started to be nice, and he said to the attorney that I apologized the way how I came off at first, and then he said he will make a decision on the case and stuff. And I haven't heard nothing since, so I don't know where I stand. So I was just wondering what
Great
is the
call.
next.
Great call. And listen, you should be proud of yourself. You talked that guy off the ledge. He was really mad at you starting off, and you brought him around to your side. So that's really good.
Yeah. Okay. He shaked my hand. He shaked my hand and said, "All right." And he even thought I left my bag. I was there trembling. To be honest, I was trembling because I was like, some of the stuff I don't even remember because I end up even had a brain stroke. So I lost memory. I was in ICU for a couple of days. So most of the things in my first match I didn't remember because when somebody dead to you, that's how it was a rough one. But I'm grateful I was able to walk out and stuff. Then while I walked out, he scheduled an interview back for the I-751 because the original going to the interview, it was the N400, and my wife, it wasn't a combo interview because it was just an N400. They didn't send me a combo interview, if you understand what I'm saying.
I totally understand what you're saying.
So
So,
they go ahead.
so I have some thoughts. Do you want me to share them with you?
Sure, go ahead.
So again, you're very eloquent. You did a very nice job of explaining all that. Okay, so that's good. Were you surprised though that the officer, and I'm putting aside they're being aggressive, but
Mhm.
and obviously that's sort of tied into it, but were you surprised that the officer wanted to talk to you about your first marriage?
No, to be honest, I wasn't surprised because I had it in my back of my head. I wasn't surprised. To be honest, I was.
And were you
Go-
surprised? Were you surprised that he wanted to talk to you about your VAWA case?
But I was surprised about the VAWA case. Yes, I was
Okay.
surprised about the VAWA.
So for you and for everybody else that's watching, and this will come up when you get your 751 interview notice, is it's always been true that everything in your immigration history is fair game, right? So let's just say you had a very, very clean immigration history. Let's say you married the first person, got a 2-year green card, got a 10-year green card, and then applied for citizenship. Let's say that if you applied for naturalization, if at that point they realized that you had lied on some original visit visa and had never told them about that and didn't include that in your N400, they could deny you citizenship just then, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's always been true, that your whole immigration history has been fair game, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
That's never been true more than right now,
Okay.
because in Trumplandia, they're starting at the beginning of your file and looking at everything all the way. So when you say things like, I mean, putting aside the brain stroke, so I would have submitted evidence of the brain stroke. I would have submitted evidence of why I might not remember everything. But you, brother, you got to be ready. You and your spouse have to know everything about every single thing you've ever filed to USCIS backward and forward when you go back to that 751 interview. So no one should be surprised by any of this.
No, the remove condition, right? They scheduled for the same day. So when we step outside, we had to go back in. When I go back in, he was like, he will take care of it.
Oh,
He will take care of it. But up to now, I have not done. He said he has to reschedule, but the N400, he has not touched
oh,
it at no
oh.
given point.
Okay. Well, okay, that's fine then. But you applied under the 3-year rule, so your spouse still has to come. And again, everybody has to be ready for everything, right? So you've got to know, like, you got to know why you didn't have a police report. You got to know what happened. You got to be able. You can't just rely on things that you filed 6 years ago in your VAWA case. You got to know your VAWA case backward and forward. So if you don't have all those files, I would use this opportunity to do a FOIA.
No, I have everything. Once with me with my first marriage, I have everything. I have everything. So I even show him my statement letter, and he was like, "Oh, I already got that." He was like, "I already got that." And then when he was seeing what I'm saying, he said everything matches. But he was like, "Why your wife used so much bad words to you? Which is my first wife, used so much bad words to you. Why you didn't go to a police station?" So I explained to him. I said, "At the time, I didn't have any family here, and I did not know what to do."
Yeah.
So that with the whole situation, it's like I did not know. And
Yeah.
he was like, so from I said that, he started being a little bit nice, and then he paused the first marriage situation and start asking me questions about my current marriage, and then he asked me if I have any evidence. I was giving him all the evidence, and my hand was shaking, like literally shaking. He was like, "Mr. Simic, calm down, calm down, calm down. Um, you're making me nervous and stuff." So and then the lawyer took the stuff from me
Good.
and gave it to him.
So listen, I think you probably weren't as ready as you should have been about the old stuff, but you rallied. You did well. I think hopefully things are going to be okay.
Mhm.
So you didn't take the test.
No, he did not take the test at no given point.
Okay.
He said he will reschedule it. That's what he said. Because he has to go back through my whole case.
Yeah. I think that's BS, but that's okay. So just to be clear, the interview notice that you received said it was a combo interview.
No, it wasn't. It was an N400, the first one.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know how long you've watched the show, but we're still in this time period where they don't have all their stuff straight. Sometimes people get their N400 interview notice. Sometimes they get a 751 interview. Sometimes they get a combo interview. So, okay. All right. Well, keep us posted how it goes. Okay.
All right, no problem. Thank you.
Thanks for the call. Yeah.
Question, how long is the time frame should I expect a response, or there's no time?
When did you file the N400?
I filed it in July,
Yeah. So it'll probably be a couple months.
and he hasn't approved the I-75 at all. He hasn't. So he
Yeah.
said he would have to go back to my case, and then he
Yeah.
might
Do it all.
potentially
They'll
send
probably
me an RFE.
Yeah.
All right. Thank
Good
you so
luck.
much.
Thanks for the call. Great call.
Mhm.
All right. All right. See what I mean about how you answer questions? See how you mean? I mean, here he has an officer yelling at him. He's so nervous he's shaking, but he talked it all the way through. And of course, that brings up my favorite quote from Mark Twain, which is, if you always tell the truth, you don't have to have a good memory. So, all right. Let's go to Leslie. Hello.
Hi, you hear me well?
I hear you well.
Okay, thanks for having me. This is about a marriage case. We're at the end of it. My husband just had his interview at the French embassy in Paris 2 days ago.
How'd it go?
Well, it went well, except for the fact that the officer was confused about our financial situation because I work for summer camps. So in the winters, I don't work, so I put unemployed and 0 because I don't work right now. And we were able to file the I-130 under direct consular filing because I got a job at San Francisco. So the household income was my husband's income that he's able to keep when he goes to the States. So we gave proof of that. And we also gave the assets to make up for the slight difference between the required income and his income. And at the end, my husband got 221G
Yep.
requesting the form I-864A. And I'm confused because according to every instruction of the forms, we're not supposed to file it. So I don't know what to answer them by email.
So this was all wrong. You should have gotten a co-sponsor a long time ago. Trying to get them to rely on assets or income of the foreign national is always a bad idea and always leads to delays and things like 221G. So this was a bad plan.
Well, they didn't cross a request for sponsor, for a joint sponsor, or for additional financial evidence.
Mm-hmm. I know.
Just the I-864A.
Right. But what needs to happen is you need to get a co-sponsor and you need to submit their taxes, because I don't think you're going to be able to untangle this mess of trying to use his income on your I-864. That they don't know how to properly explain to people what's wrong with their financial stuff when they don't like what someone has given them in an I-864 or supporting income documents, or when they try to do other things. The embassies and USCIS do a very poor job of explaining that. And what I mean by that is they'll send you an RFE that looks like it's it's one thing, but what they're really telling you is you're not doing this right. Okay? So what I'm telling you is if you want your spouse to come to the United States, what you need to do is to get a co-sponsor who makes enough money by themselves to sponsor your husband, and have them sign an affidavit of support and submit all the other stuff, that proof of current employment, proof of annual income, proof of paying their taxes, tax transcripts, all that stuff to the embassy. That's going to get your husband here 10 times faster than screwing around trying to fill out a form that, as you pointed out when you called, isn't even the right form that would be filled out. Does that make sense?
So I'm answering by email by sending them things that they didn't ask for.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
All right.
So do you have someone who could be your co-sponsor?
Well, I asked the one person I thought of and he refused.
Mm-hmm.
So there's still someone in mind who's waiting for news, because I told that Plan B person that if the embassy told us we needed one, I could ask him, but they did not.
Right. They don't. That's what I'm trying to tell you is it's almost like they can't speak the right language. Like they can't tell you what they need. It's like a baby. Like they can't tell you what it is that they need. Right. But they just know that what they have isn't right. And so but
the math is right, but they don't like it.
That's right. That's right. Yep.
All right. Thank you for that.
Yeah, for sure. All right. I thought she was going to fight me too, Kevin. Let's go to Nate. Hello, Nate.
Hey, Tim. What's going on?
What's up?
Or Jim, I'm sorry. But hey, buddy. So I have a question pertaining to my case right now. I'm the U.S. citizen. My wife is in Vietnam, and we've already gotten to the point. We already have the interview. So that's on the 28th of January. My question specifically is about me. So when I filed the I-864, I had a job and everything like that. You're right. So I submit everything. I submit my transcripts. Well, like after everything is approved and I am documentarily qualified, and then she gets the interview, I switched jobs. So my question specifically is, do I need to upload new information and new evidence about my new job, especially since I'm making like $25,000 more per year? Or should we just not say anything and just like I can send her that information to take with her to the interview?
The second one. That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah, she should have it all with her. You don't want to bring up issues that they might not bring up, but if they bring it up, you want to be ready for it.
Okay, cool. That was my only thing. That's it. Thank you so very much.
Awesome. Thanks, Nate. All right. Let's see. Let's let someone else in. LGC's been waiting. LGC, hello.
Hi, Jim.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. I have some questions. So, I got married last year, April, and my I went to my interview in April of this year. I got my green card in May, and but I'm my our apartment is in Florida, and I was trying to get a job there, and I couldn't get a job.
Can you do me a favor? There's like a feedback. I don't know if you're listening on two devices or something, but something's.
You hear me better now?
It's the back. I hear you fine, but there's this background noise.
Okay. Let me try and go in another room.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Is it better now?
Yes, thank you. So you had your interview in April and got your green card in May?
Yes, and so while I was there, I tried getting a job down there, did multiple interviews and all of that. But the profession I'm in, the license I have, it has to be 3 years in order for me to use it in Florida. So I decided, okay, I'm gonna go to Massachusetts and work on that visa and get, because bills were getting backed up, and I owe the IRS, we owe the IRS, and so my husband and I talked it over and said, okay, I'm gonna go up there and work, and we can pay off some of the bills. He said, okay. I went up. I came up and I was working. I go back down, and just to know, I am a wife, so I'm gonna go and do my job as a wife. I make sure like things are done, laundry is done. He has food in the house and all of that because he's not responsible like that, and I worry about him. After last week, no, about 3 weeks ago, I noticed we'll stop talking to each other on the phone as much, and he just seemed distant. So I like called him and I was like, what's happening or whatever. It seemed to me that he was in a relationship with someone, because my neighbor downstairs, she called me and she told me after the fact, after I was wondering, she told me that he had someone in my house. Well, in our house, because it's our apartment and he's there, and we have he pays like the light bill and certain things, and we have a phone plan together, and he'll send me the half of that, and he'll send me like half of the rent, and I do my part as well because it's really hard right now. And one night he called me and he was like, he texted me before and say I'm family. I'm like, what are you talking about? Because I'm so it seems like he's trying to prove to the person that I'm a family member. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm your wife. I'm not going to do that. Then he started acting busy. Then he started asking me for money, and then saying our relationship isn't real, and that and then he sent like a divorce paper that was filled out by someone else because that's not his handwriting. Even the name on it was spelled incorrectly. And then after that, he went off the chain and started being rude, calling me a dumb fat bitch. At this point, I don't know what to do.
I'm very sorry that happened.
So he's a good guy. I know that because that's why I married him. He has a good heart. But what he's doing now, I don't know why he's being like that. I don't know what to do. And then one of my credit card was there for emergency. He went and he spent $800 off that credit card. And we have joint credit cards together. We said we're not using it because we're building his credit. So we have plans to buy a house. He's like, oh, send me money to buy shoes and all of that. And I'm like, no, I can't. And he's like, because of the hurricane in Jamaica the other day, he even sent me $100 so I can pack some supplies to my family, to send to my family, my mom, my sisters, everyone pulled together and sent me money so I could pack the bars and send them so they can have food and just the necessities. And even that, he's cussing me out, telling me, "Oh, you do stuff for everyone and not for him," and that I focus on my family. But if they're going through a disaster and everyone came together and gave me that money, why would I not help my family back home?
LGC, I'm very sorry that you're going through all this. I'm sort of up against the end of the show. What immigration question do you have for me?
So if he does go ahead and file the divorce, what are my options?
So did you have an interview on your green card or no?
Yes, I did.
And were you you moved out after you got your green card?
Yes, but our apartment is there. I'm just working in another state so we can pack up some bills and pay off IRS and that.
How far away are you from him?
I'm far away.
Okay. So that's going to be, I mean, I can't think of it. It's going to look very bad that you moved out right after you got your 2-year green card. They're not going to believe you. They're not going to think it was to go pay bills. They're going to think it's because the marriage was in trouble. And if you basically haven't lived together since you got the 2-year green card, it's going to be a really hard case to get.
Oh, so I'm screwed.
I wouldn't say you're totally screwed, but it's going to need a lot of work. And I mean, first you got to get divorced, and then you got to do the 751. But it's a big mess, and it's not going to look very good to USCIS that you moved out right after you got your green card. I frankly, very rarely do I see that. Usually, it's a year or two later.
Okay, it's just that because I have proof that my son just did a bone marrow transplant, and all our savings was been made. We had no money left.
You're gonna have to prove all that to USCIS's satisfaction. That's the thing. And so maybe you're going to need to prove he's the bad guy. But I got to go, LGC. Call me back next time, okay?
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Yep. All right, everybody. That'll do it for today's show. Off for Yusuf's birthday. I hope you all have a great rest of your Friday. We'll do a show sometime this weekend, probably tomorrow. And we will see you guys then. Thanks, everybody. And thanks for being here. And thanks for listening to me. And thanks for watching. And we'll see you next time. I'm great about that, other than trying to help people who are